Hey, there we are. Hey, welcome back to another live stream. There's nobody here yet, but we're going to go ahead and get started. If you are watching this after the fact, I do plan on getting after, maybe 4 or 5 episodes, doing a more edited version. That'll come out as I get them done, as I get enough content through these to get them started here. So, anyways, on um, this year's live stream, we're going to be doing a Sig Wonder with the big twist. Now, I'm dedicating this season to Hazel Sig. She wasn't a real close friend of mine, but I did know her starting off at a very early age in life. I can the story I always tell with Hazel is that when I think it was like 1986 or 1987. Hey, we got somebody. Hello. 1986 or 1987. Trying to remember what I think it was 87. Me and my family, of course, at the time lived in Virginia Beach, and we were traveling to Omaha, Nebraska for the summer for the Nats. And along the way, Dad scheduled the trip to include the fun fly out at Sig's Fly-In. Of course, me being 7 years old, and so anyways, we get there and we spend the weekend at Hazel's place at the Big Fun Fly, and yeah, she she takes me whisks me up and spend the weekend with her on the golf cart. Friday or Saturday night, I'm trying to remember what night it was. She takes me to her house and we watch Disney movies and ice cream, popcorn, stuff like that. Had a really good time. Of course, Hazel's getting in trouble because didn't tell Mom and Dad that she was whisking me away, and so nobody could find me. So, anyways, let's get a little story there for you for the first time I met Hazel. Anyways, what we're gonna do here this winter is, like I said, we're gonna build a Sig Wonder. The twist is we're going to enlarge it and we're going to turn it into a twin. If you're not very familiar with it, that is my Sig something extra twin that I built. It's probably 5 or 6 years old at this point. She really liked that plane. That has been out at was out at the Fun Fly out at Montezuma probably 4 years, 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that at this point. And anyways, she really liked it. Actually, she signed the canopy on it. Really liked the ingenuity that went behind it. So we are going to do a twin fuse, 40 size Sig Wonder scratch built. So, anyways, to get started, we're over here at the drafting table. I don't get this out very often, but I cleaned the table up. I don't think anybody's got any plans for a 40 size Sig Wonder out there, do you? So I am going to. Hi, can you hear me? Okay. New camera and stuff. So over here, I got the original set of plans that for the Wonder, and I'm going to start with the rib. So I'm going to cut the rib out of here, cross section. This shop. There we go. Okay, so I went ahead and cut out the rib section here, and that's where we're going to start out. We're going to start drawing the plans up for the wing. So anyways, I should have thought about this a little more before I see if I can get you angled down here enough to. Hey, there we go. And then I should have, there we go. Well, not really needing trace paper. So we're always going to start out with the center line here. And something you got to remember is that I got to go get my phone real quick. But anyways, what you always got to remember is that plans are objective, and you just using them to build your plane, and 7 and 7/8. Everything's going nuts now. So we got 7 and 7/8 long. We're gonna go 25% bigger. So I know there's other ways to do it, but we are gonna go. Let's see I need my little cheat sheet here. 7 ruler unit converter. What's this thing got? Okay, I don't want that. What is 7/8 in decimal point? Don't you take 7 divided by 100? No, that's not right. 7 divided by 8. There we go. 0.875. My mind will come to me, believe me. 7.875. So we take 7.875, add 25%, 9.84. Might as well call that 10 inches. So do we even have? Oh yeah. So we're gonna put a mark here. I mean, 0.84. We're right there at 10. So that's our trailing leading edge. Sorry if this is boring. And then all I'm doing is I'm going to plot this rib out. So I'm going to go from there. I need a straight line on the rib itself. Oh. Two and a half. .12. This is going to be a 1/4 of an inch. Okay. I'll show you what I got going on here once I get the rib established here. Our center for our spars. I'm lucky because this thing's got a center line on the rib. So we got 5/8 to the top. It's pretty symmetrical, 5/8 and 5/8 at the spar. Oh, it keeps doing that. So 5 divided by 8 plus 95%. .78. Math is not my strong point. 0.78 as a fraction. Come on, AI. 3950. Oh, look at this. Here's a conversion chart. That'll tell us. Isn't the internet nice? So it's 7.8. Right. We'll go 3/4 of an inch on both top and bottom. That's pretty close. How's everybody doing? See, we got a couple people. Oh, somebody left. Sorry if I'm boring. Okay, so we got the start point. We got a leading edge, which is going to be at a 45. Don't know if I got a 45 in here or not. Definitely going to need those. Over those two. I don't think that's a 45. I gotta go get my yeah, if I can find it. There we go, being unprepared again. Oh, we're gonna set this here, and then I guess we gotta determine what we're gonna use for a leading edge here. My plans aren't in the best of shape here. That's 1/4 inch. That'd probably be fine for what we're doing. That's going to be a 1/4 inch laid on its side. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's use this thing for what it was designed to do, eh? Okay. There. How about a pencil sharpener? Inch there. I can read it. looks pretty close. Yeah. I'm just starting with there's my square stock. We'll put 1/4 inch in there, and then I got my point right there, and here's my trailing edge. So if you look at the rib, it's got a tapered edge joint there that we'll include, and then yeah. So next we got to establish this area here, and then we can take our French curve there and draw our curves in. I would use my computer, but it's in the shop right now. So, anyways, that's exactly a 1/4 inch there. The rib might grow a little bit with sheeting because it's sheeted in 1/16 inch, and I'm going to up that to 3/32 for a 40 size plane, just a little bit more rigidity. We're going to slice the ribs off once we get a rib template here. So 1/8 inch is going to be center. Should be 1/4 inch. Right there. Okay. We are, if you're just joining us, we're building a rib section for the Wonder project. It's getting enlarged. That don't look right. This might be a little better. Looks pretty close. We need a long, I don't know if I'm going to have one long enough. What kind of angle are we dealing with here? Okay. Hey, we're getting some people. How you guys doing today? Went fine yesterday. It was cold. That looks a little bulgy right there, like it needs to. I like that better. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I'll get you in here in a minute. It's just a semi-symmetrical airfoil. As long as it's got some radius, or planes, as far as rib dimensions go and everything, you could copy this and get it into your computer and blow it up, or take it to Kinko's and do that. But this works just fine too. Talked to a lot of people on our rib profiles. As long as you could pretty much build any airplane with about 4 ribs. Obviously, the thicker the rib is, the more drag you're going to have. But anyways, it's all about the curvature and where that center of gravity is going to be at. And the lifting point's usually the thickest part of the rib, which is right in the center there. That's usually where the spars are at. I'm no expert at this, but that's been my experience. I've changed ribs before, rib profiles and stuff on various planes, and they've all flown. So, I'm sure it'll fly. I'm not too worried about that. We're going with a pretty proven design here from Bruce Tharp. I don't know if you know that's who designed this plane or not, but yeah. So, anyways, as far as spars go, because we're making the wing so much longer, I'm going to increase the dimensions on those. I'm trying to remember what they are here. 1/8 by 1/4. We'll probably go 1/4 by 1/4 sounds good. That gives us a little bit more meat in the center. The OSLA 46 is suitable for the something extra 40. It's not no powerhouse. The 40. You guys see me okay? I got so much glare in that computer screen. There we go. Sorry if I'm looking away. We got a new camera here. I'm trying to get used to it. Anyways, the LA is not going to be a very powerful engine, but it will fly it. Of course, you're not. The something extra was never meant to do 3D stuff, but a nice hot 46 will fly it. The 46 LA is a bushed motor, so you do want to run that just a little bit more on the rich side. Okay. So, make sure that you got a nice smoke trail coming behind you. Peek it out 2 or 3 clicks, rich, and it'll live very, very happy life there. But just remember with the LAs, you're going to wear it out, and there's, pretty much once it's wore out, it's, put it in the garbage can because it has bushings in it instead of bearings. Cool. So, yeah, but the LA, fine engine, especially if you get a good one. I had an LA 40 and a Sig Phaser back in the day, and it flew it just fine too. Yeah. So, anyways, 1/4 inch. And I do believe that we got a flat section here, so I might have to redraw the rear end here a little bit. Far that way. Which you can't hardly see the markings on this one, so I'm going to tape measure out. And yeah, I got a better. I'll draw this straight across so we don't have to measure out the other one. How many of you guys remember these things? Huh? Drafting school and high school. Hey. Yeah, no problem, buddy. Those are a fun airplane to fly. I've got 2 of them. You actually got another kit coming, so yeah, it's have you started on yours yet? So we'll make a note here, quarter by quarter. Okay, and then I need to see. Oh, sweet. Yeah, they go together pretty easily. I actually, I know they recommend what was it, rubber bands between the wings for the pull out, but I use zip ties. On mine, you can also use springs. Even the twin up there's got um, the outer wing panels are, yeah, got the zip tie between them to hold them together. That looks like about 3/8 of an inch. That's probably going to be okay. Well, maybe we'll go 3/4. I think I'll go 3/4. Give us a little bit more meat for hinges. I don't know how fast this thing's going to be. With 246s on it, it's probably going to be pretty spicy. Okay. Probably 3/4 by 8 will be our, what I would guess our next measurement would be. Probably 3/4 by quarter. So we're going to have a 3/4 by quarter. Okay. So this is going to be 1/4 by 1/4. Oh. I ain't working, Keith. Oh boy. As far as putting a 4-stroke into something extra, don't recommend it. It needs a 46. There is not a lot of room in the nose section of that airplane to set up linkages and stuff that get complicated with a 4-stroke. So I would say negative on that one. I know my buddy Tom, he's probably in here somewhere. He might be sleeping. But Tom has a something extra ARF that he bought a while ago, and he tried to stuff a 70 in the nose of that and wasn't very successful. The other problem with the something extra is this how close to the ground it sits. Now you can alleviate that and make more ground clearance. Yeah, the 46 is going to be a lot better. So anyways, if you wanted to run a bigger prop, you could get the ARF landing gear, which I don't know if they have it right now or not, because the ARF landing gear is taller. Of course, if you're building it from the kit, which sounds like you are, you can always modify the landing gear plate for, a taller landing gear, or you could, I don't remember what video it was on, but I made landing gear for, I think it was Mike's Righteous Ripper. You can make your own. 11.7 on a 46. 10.6, man. 10.6. Yep, 10.6 on a 46. That's all that's got up there. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so we got our rib structure here. Ribs are probably going to be right around 1/16 of an inch. So we're going to use the, I'm going to slice the ribs off. The other thing that we need is when this thing gets built, Sig uses standoffs back here to keep the ribs level. So we're going to incorporate those into the rib section. And then once the wing is built, you cut them off. So we're going to draw a straight line out from the bottom here, and then we'll make a tab here that will cut into our block. I know it's hard for you guys to see them, it's so low. And then this doesn't really matter how big it is, just as long as it's flat. So we'll go something like this. And then something like that. So that'll be our tab. And then once we get done, we can put a slice across it and break the tab off. So yeah, anyways, we need a copy of this. So I am going to put another sheet of paper underneath of it. I guess I could have done this off the bat while I was building it, but that's all right. Okay. And then I'm just going to trace this out. And then this will be our template for the rib. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't run a 10-6. I'd run a 10-6 on that every day of the week. 11.7 is going to lug that motor down too much. Okay. I think that's everything. Of course, it's not going to transfer because I got the paper on wrong. Why didn't somebody tell me? So we get to do it again. Okay. Let's make sure we got it. There we go. Okay, now we got our rib. Okay. And then okay, so we got our rib structure. So the next step is going to be, and I'm going to cut this basically as smooth as I can. Because since I free-handed it, it is a little jaggy, but. And I'm going to go right next to the line so that way I got room to sand the block down. I'm going to copy this to balsa wood. Okay. Now, okay, got that. And now I gotta clean the table off a little bit here. We're still gonna need this, but this is done. For motors, I got a couple of Super Tiger 45s to put on it. I will be looking for a new muffler for one of them. So if anybody's got one laying around, I'm not sure if I have one or not. I haven't really looked yet. That. Set this aside. For plans, all I'm using is this sheet paper, and you'll see here in a second, but I just taped a bunch of them together here. Of course, I'm running out of space like quick here, so let's just throw all this in here. Definitely a big pencil though. Half hour already, holy cow. So, yeah, I just took a bunch of these sheets. This is going to be the plans. That looks off. This it's not. I'll make sure I got enough room so that way I can get my machine here to it. There's one of the motors. It looks used but fairly new. And then I got a brand new one here. We will also be doing, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the Wonder, but you could build 3 different versions: the Patriot, the Russian, the Standard, and I think the Angel design. So you could, we're gonna do the Angel. It's gonna be blue and yellow. It's gonna be kind of like a homage to Hazel as far as her airship career goes. Okay, that's pretty close. So what do you actually think you need for wing plans? Well, you need to know where the spar goes. You need a straight line for that. And then you need to know where the ribs go and any other information that is helpful, like, how you're going to attach the wing. Where's servos going to go? How big are the ailerons? What shape are the ailerons in? Don't necessarily need wingtips on this because they're going to be carved out of block. So, but we are going to start with our rib section here that we already grew up. This kind of builds up on itself. You start with when you're doing a wing, you start with the rib structure. So that way you know where everything's going to go, like your spars, your leading edge and stuff. And then you can measure off of that and copy it onto your plans. You don't need sophisticated stuff to make an airplane. So, what are we at there? I might have a hard time reading that. So that's our leading edge right there. We're 3 1/8. Yeah, 3 1/8. So I need 3 1/8 inches, and that's, I know it's going to be tight, so I need to be mindful of the space we're using here. Start kind of in the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here. So we gotta find the center line of this paper. 8 1/2. 4 1/4. Okay, that's the center line of our wing. And then the wingspan on the Wonder, 37 1/2. Jesus. Everybody wants me to be at work, and it's 1:45. I ain't got to be to work for a couple more hours. I hate work. Okay, calculator. So, where were we? 37.5 plus 25%. 46 3/4 is our approximate. Divide that by 2. 23 1/2 each wing panel. We're going to approximate here. Okay. As we'll probably get some room for our wing tip in here. Just got to be out the other end here. Oh, baby. A little bit more. A little more. There we go. There's this wingspan there. And we need our spar location, which I think I said was what, 3 1/8. Oh, it was 3 1/4. No, 3 1/8. Okay. So we'll put the leading edge right up here at the top. Try to avoid our start there. And then we need 3 1/8. So that's 1, 2, 3 1/8. Should be pretty close right there. Very important that you get this straight. So if you don't have a drafting table, you're not building a boat, blowing your wing or whatnot. I think this is probably the most critical part of any wing build, is knowing where the spar is going and how perpendicular it is to everything. There's our spar. See, I don't have to draw out now. You get a normal set of plans, and they're going to space everything out and everything. You only need a leading edge. You don't need a location for your, where the leading edge of your wing's going, because that's going to be out in space until you add it, right? Very, very basic. Kind of like what we did when I was building the 50cc profile, which, by the way, next weekend, we are not going to be live streaming next Sunday because I'm going to be out flying at Muncie. So come fly with me. Dang it. So here's our center. I want to make a couple notes here. Here's leading edge spar. Okay. We're not too worried about the trailing edge here. We're just going to draw straight lines for our rib profile here. Like I said, super, super simplified thing here. And then we'll figure out where, probably going to do that next, where's our Nancels going to lay at. So, again, I was talking to my good friend Tom last night all about this. And we decided to do a center engine stand at 10.5. Now, one thing I wish I would have done on the twin up here, the something extra twin, is I think my spacing on the center there is too wide. It doesn't really affect how it flies, but if it had a engine out, the further apart the engines are, the more torque it has on the airplane, if that makes any sense. So you want the engines as close together as you possibly can with any twin conversion airplane. Of course, electric motors would, take that risk way down, but you can still have an engine out with an electric twin. Anyways, so that thing up there, I think we measured it last night. It's like 16, 17 inches. With 10-inch props, it gives us lots of clearance. The reason why that's so wide is because I had intended on possibly converting Ned over to 4 strokes, but like what the reasons I told Trevor there earlier, 4 strokes on a something extra is a really tight fit, and so that thing will never change as far as engines go. I'm always going to keep the 46s on there. They got AXs on them, real powerhouses, right? Nice engines. I can still get them at Tower. I think they're a couple $100 a piece. Anyways, so using that, because that is a 40 size plane, as the basis of this new one, which we're up enlarging to a 40 size plane, we decided to go with an engine center line of 10.5 inches apart. So on a 10-inch prop, it's going to give us a 1/4 of an inch difference between the two props. Now, unless anybody else here has any other objections, that's what it's going to be. What do you guys think? Think that's good? Are we going to get any weird wind or weird noises off of the props with them being spinning so close together? I really don't think so. So 10.5, that's 5 1/4. One center line there. Make a note there, fuse center. We're gonna go 10.5 inches from there. That should be 5 1/4. Oh, excuse me. Use Center. Okay. And now we need to know how wide our fuselage is going to be, so we'll go measure that real quick. We're going to do the outside measurement. This fuselage does kind of taper in the front a little bit, and more so in the rear. So we got 2.5 there. So 2.5 plus 25% is, let's call that 3.25. Well, I think 3 inches would be plenty. Let's get a motor here. 3 inches is going to be plenty. Yeah. So we'll do 3 inches. 3 inches wide. Should probably make a note of that. Probably not going to get that far with the fuselage today, but so that'd be 1.5 inches on the center line. Okay. Here. Okay. Side. Oops. Okay, so there's our fuselage side. So, anyways, we're gonna need we are going to need to have some sort of. I'm just gonna extend these lines out real quick here. I'm probably going to focus a lot on the center section here because that's where a lot of the details are going to go. So we need an overall length measurement here, and that's going to be 9.25 and 10. Okay. Up and down, up and down. Okay. There is the trailing edge location. Okay. We'll put a line here just for giggles. So we know where the rib is going to land at. Okay, so we got some early on. You basically got to figure out how you're going to do stuff, especially when you're going to designing the wing. Now we're going to have built aileron servos out here on the wing panels. I am not going to do a center flap servo because I think it'd be kind of redundant on this plane. Kind of redundant on the something extra one too with the center flap. So no center flap, just the ease of operation. Now, it being a twin, we're going to have working rudders. We're going to build a dolly for this thing to sit on. It's not going to have any landing gear underneath of it, but I'm going to build a dolly that it will take off from. That'll have wheels and steering on it, and then it'll belly land. So we're going to have a nice heavy piece because these twins tend to add and end up adding a lot of weight to them. They end up being pretty heavy. So, anyways, the fuselage is going to house our throttle servos and the rudder servos. Rudder because it's twin, and if you lose an engine, you need to counteract that yaw before you get the other engine shut down. So, anyways, the elevator servos, I'm still trying to decide what they're going to look like and what they're going to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to go with two and put one in each fuse. But basically, the idea I have in my mind, if you're not sure what the Wonder is, I would highly recommend that you look it up. So, anyways, the stabilizers are going to be just as wide as the fuselages as they are apart. Okay, right here. Okay, because this is the stabilizer area, and the rudders are going to be out on the end of that. Now, I may push them out some just to hide that this is kind of like a flying wing design with a fuselage, just to hide the side profiles of the fuselages. So if we do that, then this will grow a little bit. But anyways, I want this thing to come apart. The biggest problem I have with the something extra twin is storage. That whole centerpiece, the fuselages, the rudder, elevator, they all stay with the fuselage. This one will come apart. I mean, I know it's not going to be super big. It's going to be pretty short. But it'd still be nice in the wintertime to be able to take the wing off of the fuselages and separate everything into a smaller, smaller area. So anyhow, where are we at here for time? We're almost done. So anyways, we will probably go ahead and pick this up next week. The reason why I got to cut these kind of short is because I am working thirds, and I actually got to get ready to go to work here in a couple hours. So, meal and stuff like that. But anyways, it's only another 3 weeks, and then I'm back onto my normal Mondays through Friday gig instead of this Sunday through Thursday night crap, working 13 hours a day overnight from 5 at night to 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Anyways, so we're going to get a little bit of a slow start here, and then don't forget next weekend the live stream to the one person that's still watching. And so we'll pick this up in a couple weeks. We will figure out how we're going to attach this wing. We're going to get our ribs laid out. I will have the workbench cleared off over there, and we will probably start cutting some wood and here in 2 weeks and get ribs made. This wing should go together fairly quick. I usually say that a lot, but and then we get to build 2 fuselages, and the Wonder was never a real big intense build. It's going to be covered with monocoat. The only change we're making is adding another fuselage and an engine and making it a little bit bigger. So anyways, thank you all for watching. Like I said, I'm going to do a edited down video of this later on. So if you're watching this before that happens, I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Thanks for sticking around. Talk to you later.